Hello, everyone, and welcome to Harv's World for the next leg of the World Tour, Pineapple Bay. Yes, we are in the Caribbean, Pineapple Bay. I'm fresh off the boat. Just got in. You can see here I'm at the docks, and I've been in talking to some folks, and it doesn't look real good. I'll fill you in on that in just a second, but first, I would like to welcome Stocky Bustuff Marketable or Market 123able Villu Hill, Cheesy Nugget 69, Beck M Sport, and Ryan Scott to the channel, and of course all of those anonymous subscribers, so many of them. Welcome everyone, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content. So like I said, I've been in talking to the port officials here, and well, we're fresh off the boat from Italy, and things don't look real good because the Fent is hung up in customs. They won't let it on the island here. I don't know why yet. They haven't explained, but things are locked down pretty tight here. I have to tell you, I've done a little research in between my the legs of my journey, and well, import export, interesting. And needless to say, this is a country in the Caribbean that is a few years coming out of communism. They're adjusting, adapting, creating new laws and such, and they have very limited, how do I phrase this? Very limited ability or capacity or desire to work with the outside world. And the reason I'm walking up from the port is because I have purchased a small truck from the dealership here, and I just needed to come over and pick it up. Apparently they really wanted me to know that it was this one because they've got the flashers on. But anyway, so just a few years out of communism, and it's interesting because they don't allow chemicals on the island. So I'm not going to be able to get fertilizer. I'm not going to be able to get herbicide. I'm not going to be able to get much of anything. And the one thing they do have going for them apparently is they've got a big lime mine on the island. So lime's not going to be a problem, but they will not allow imports of anything fertilizer or herbicide or anything like that. So that's a neat little pickup. With that said, we ended up here on Pineapple Bay simply because my Aunt Anne, I guess her name was, I'd never heard of her before, but she passed away a few months back, and I talked about in Ischia about the fact that someone had tracked me down through one of those DNA records, DNA things that I had done. And apparently I'm like a long lost nephew. And I'm pretty much the last of her line. So she tracked me down. That's a nice little town. They've got a coffee shop. She tracked me down and pretty much left me her estate. So we're just doing a bit of a tour around here, just checking out the place, seeing where all we got. Not a bad little town, a little bit run down, and what you would expect from a place that's coming out of the throes of communism. Nice little lighthouse out there. The water here is beautiful, if you can't tell. Come up over here real quick. Just how blue and crystal clear that is. So it's a lovely little tropical paradise. Looks like they're doing some construction here. Things are still working. Oh, this is a dead end. Anyway, she tracked me down, left me her estate. And that's what brings me to Pineapple Bay. And I'm not even sure where I'm going here. Just kind of looking around this tropical paradise. Apparently we drive on the right here, so that's no problem. So yeah, we the other thing too is there's some limited, very limited ability to get farm equipment here, because they only contract, the government will only contract with certain manufacturers, and those happen to be manufacturers in South America. Now, they have recently developed a contract with JCB, so it might be possible to get some JCB equipment. Within the last couple of years, JCB has expanded their operations into South America and such, and so that has bled over onto Pineapple Bay. And that's the other thing about Pineapple Bay is the equipment that comes in has to be of a South American, Caribbean area, a South American, Caribbean area kind of manufacturer. So yeah, equipment's limited. Now there is one exception to that rule. Apparently they really like to grow cotton here, and so they do to some degree subsidize the cotton industry and will allow certain pieces of cotton equipment to come in, particularly John Deere. And so I'm sure John Deere is going to try to take advantage of that and get more equipment in. But for now, it's only cotton. And we've got some interesting buildings here. Looks like maybe somewhere to sell and an animal dealership of some kind. And this place is massive, just absolutely huge. There's nothing small going on this island, that's for sure. Now, while I was at the port facility, I asked about my Aunt Anne, and they knew exactly who she was and have given me a little bit of a map on how to get to her place, so I believe this is the road that's going to take me right out there. And they've got some really big fields here, really big, and this place is not cheap. Not cheap at all. Things are quite pricey here. So it's going to be a challenge. And, if you'll see, got very limited funds at my disposal. Now, Auntie apparently didn't have much in the way of cash, but she's got a nice holding at least. We'll take a look at here in just a little bit, I think. We're not too far from it now. But also, with that said, the Van Horns are continuing to make my life a little bit miserable. It looks like we've got a biogas plant set up here on the right. Looks a little bit old and run down, but looks functional. Anyway, the Van Horns continue to make my life a bit of a nightmare because the money that they owe me is tied up in legal work. Of course it is, because, well, we all know Mrs. Van Horn. She wasn't too happy with what I did at the end there. But you know what? I don't even remotely care. I will make do with what I've got. This is a nice little place. Kind of like it. And if I'm correct, we should be coming up on Auntie's place here in just a minute. Like right here up on this hill. That doesn't look too good. This should be it. Interesting little barn there. We got some kind of pasture and a broken down truck sitting out there. Now, apparently there was some kind of a caretaker or some caretakers who were supposed to be looking after the place, but my God, what have they been doing up here? There's stuff sitting around. Harvester down here. Looks like it's crashed into a tree, just been left to roll down the hill. Tractors. I mean, it looks like there's some equipment, but oh man, they've just really been having a field day with this place, no pun intended. Now, I know this is one of her fields, but this is all shot. It's no good. Look at all those weeds. And that crop is dead. So there's not going to be any harvesting that. It's just going to be plowed. Oh. Well, I mean, I can't complain. It was pretty well handed to me. But, man. A lot of work to do to get squared away here. A lot of work to get done to get squared away here. Looks like some kind of an old silo. That's interesting. Some kind of a loader. Plow shoved out of the way. Well, it looks like we've got some seed here. That's good. We've got a water supply. A couple of water supplies. She's got an old water tank sitting up here in front of her house. Decent little house. Nice big pasture here that needs to be taken care of. Beat up old shed. Of course there's nothing in it, because why would there be? Everything is scattered all over creation. Now it looks to me like Auntie, and I think this guy's kind of told me this, they had, or she got into the horse breeding business not long ago, but hadn't really produced anything yet. We'll have to take a look at that. It seems like the horses might be okay. We'll have to look and see. Okay, well, I think the next order of business is going to be getting the house squared away, or getting the farmyard squared away. As I crash into the into the water tower here. Yeah, we got work to do here. So, and I'm not even sure what this thing is. Looks like it might be functional. It's got some operator controls here. We'll sort that out later. Okay, time to get to work. Time to put stuff away. Okay, that's a little better. That's a lot better. Although I did find one really cool thing. Check that out. Aunt Anne had good taste in antiques. I love that. Outstanding. Absolutely love it. And we're just going to check up on these horses here. They appear to be in good shape. I'll give them a little bit of water. And I don't know what she was doing for food for these guys, but we don't have anything. And that's a problem because, as you probably noticed, there's no grass equipment here, so it's not like we can make hay at the moment. And there's nothing in the silo. So no oats, no straw. So it seems like an oat field is going to be in order pretty quick here. Now apparently she's got one other field, and I should go take a look at that real quick. If I can get turned around and out of here without taking out a light pole. There we go. Somewhere down this way. I love these palm trees. Really, really different from any place we've been before. Yeah, this little truck really hauls the mail. I don't know what the speeding laws here in this neck of the woods, but this should be her field coming right up here on the left. Okay, so she's got 9.5 acres of cotton that's kind of gone to pot because there's weeds all over. Looks like it's ready to go too, but yeah, it's all ready to harvest. Looks like it's been fertilized at least. So hopefully that will generate a little bit of revenue for this place. And then maybe I can get the horses taken care of. If not, I'm going to end up having to buy hay and straw bales, which is not something I really, really want to do. And maybe that explains why Auntie Anne didn't have much money. She got her money invested in those horses and then didn't produce what they needed on her own. And I'm sure that got expensive in a hurry. So I think my first order, because I know that cotton's ready to go. And it looked like we at least have a cotton harvester on the farm. But I think the first order of business is going to be getting an oat field in. That seems pretty important, because oats are going to give us horse food and they're going to give us straw. So that'll take care of two parts of the problem. Then we just need hay. That's going to mean finding some mowing equipment. And I don't even know what's available. But it's not like I've got money to buy it right now anyway. I could try leasing some, I suppose. We'll sort that out. For right now, I want to focus on getting one of these fields up and running at least. Let's park up here at the house. And yeah, when I was sorting out this equipment, I left this big brute of a tractor hooked up to this plow. listen to that thing. It takes forever to get running, too. Seems to run fairly well, but I don't know. No, we're about to find out. And all I have is a dinky plow. It seems to be doing a decent job, though. I can't get used to the color of the soil. You know, I'm used to the deep, rich brown. This is just bright orange, man. I'm sure it's good quality. Knock on wood. Well, this old tractor might be might be old, but somebody has taken the time to put some GPS in there. And in order to maximize my tool width, I should probably take advantage of that. So let's get her set up, shall we? There we go, that'll do us a little better. Now, if you want to come along for a ride, I've got a jump seat. Pretty basic, everything in here. And this field, this is a big field. This is 35 acres, so we're not going to get through this. We're not going to get through this quickly at all. You know, the mirrors on this tractor actually almost work. Almost. So I am going to work on this field. Going to get her plowed up. A tribute to Aunt Anne's horses. We're going to throw some oats in here. Well, not exactly a tribute, but a requirement so that they don't starve to death. Anyway, let me knock out this field, and we will chat it up in just a little bit. Talk to you then. Well, let me tell you, 35 acres with that little plow took forever. We get this farm up and running again. I might have to think about finding something else, but I don't know. I don't really know what's going to be available. I mean, plows don't exactly come in big widths anyway. It could be an issue of just multiple plows, so cross that bridge when I come to it. And, you know, being on the island, new to it and all of that. And I've told you, there's plenty of restrictions on what equipment they'll allow in, who they're contracted with and such. I just don't know where we're going to be with that. This isn't a bad tractor. I'm not the biggest fan of articulated tractors, but this does the job at least. Can't complain about that. And of course that field is going to need more than just a plow, because of course it does. So I think my next chore is going to be to go find that lime mine. I guess you could call it a mine. Or maybe lime is a byproduct of their mining, I don't know. But I think this is probably going to be as good a place as any for the plow for right now. I don't really have any other shelter to do. Not really, no. Everything's kind of booked up. So we'll just drop her right there. As long as I don't get it too far off the hill, I think we'll be safe. And let's find a parking spot for this tractor. Any one of these spots will work. This thing sounds like a jet engine when it starts up, and pretty much when it starts down also. I think as far as lime goes, this is going to be our best bet here. This old dumper truck, whatever it is. Runs good. Now, while I was plowing that field, and the many hours that it took, I did take the time to make a few phone calls. And, you know, speaking of equipment, it sounds pretty much like, you know, these guys are still, I mean, they're breaking away from communism and they're developing a republic. They're just only a couple years into it, so they're not really there yet. But they still have a lot of ties to those communist countries and such, or countries that, you know, were previously like that. Anyway, it sounds like a lot of Russian equipment is available, or could be available. Like this truck right here is basically an old Russian military truck. It's a Ural, U-R-A-L. Runs good though. And this gives us a chance to see just a little bit more of the island. Something over there that looks interesting. Well, they're advanced enough to have solar panels. That's interesting. Watch me go driving off into the sea. They do have beautiful coastal areas. This is going to be an enjoyable place to stay for a while, I think. Really rather looking forward to it. And yeah, I saw you, Mr. Cement Truck. That's pretty cool old ruins over there. Might have to go explore that in my off time one of these days. And if I've got my directions correct, we should be looking at the mine coming up right about here. No, they're calling this a cement factory. The Foundation Cement Factory. See on that sign right over there. It looks more like a strip mine to me, though. But what do I know? I hope they don't charge an outrageous sum for lime. That's all I care about right now. This looks like the place. Not sure how much this truck will hold, but I might as well fill it up. It doesn't look like the cost is going to be too outrageous. I can store it in my silo, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 14,000 liters for all of about 2,600 bucks. That's not bad. With a little luck, that will go a long way. Just have to be sure I don't waste a whole bunch of it. And of course, as is the standard farming practice, we might have to ingratiate ourselves with the locals, see what kind of extra work we can pick up to make some money. I get the suspicion, I have the suspicion that the island's not going to be cheap. Not going to be cheap at all. Especially if at some point I want to expand land. I know the land here is very expensive. So it's not going to be easy just picking up a new plot here and there. I knew I needed to turn there because of the solar panels. I've always had the ability, if I drive somewhere once, I always remember how to get back there. Strange but true. What I'm really looking forward to, if I'm honest, but there's just work to get done right now, and it seems a little bit extraneous for the moment. There's that cotton field that needs taken care of. Yeah, what I'm really interested in is getting into the house for a little bit and just seeing what's there. This woman lived a long life, and nobody really knew much about her, at least not in my family. I mean, the DNA doesn't lie. We're definitely related. But I'm interested to find out, a little bit more about her history, so, that's what I'm intrigued by. There we go. I do like her farm, though. I think it looks pretty good. I can see why she enjoyed living here for all those years. It's got easy access to seed. It's got a good water supply. Not too sure about all the equipment, but we'll get there. It's all pretty beat up. It's all pretty old. And that doesn't mean it's not good equipment. That's not my point. But looks like she's working small for... Yep, I thought that would open that up. Working small on a big farm, if you know what I mean. Interesting. I thought this would tip back, but apparently not. It just wants to tip to the left. But it did answer the big question I have, was would that go in my silo? And yes it will. So that's handy. At least I can run truckloads of lime. And I'm really kind of wishing I could get my hands on some fertilizer and herbicide, if you know what I mean, but that doesn't seem like the smartest move at the moment. Yeah, we'll see what plays out. You never know. Okay. And one thing that unfortunately she does not have around here is a any kind of repair shop, apparently. So any repairs or anything right now, I'm gonna have to go all the way down to the shop in town, get them to repair. And we might have to do something about a power washer at some point, because this equipment is wrecked. Absolutely filthy. Now, unless I miss my guess, this right here is lime spreader. Keep your fingers crossed. And I should be able to pull right in here and fill her up. There you go. There's the answer to that question. $6,000 liters. That's, if you know anything about lime, that's not necessarily going to go very far on a 35-acre field, but we'll find out. We will see. I just can't get used to the color of the soil. I'm so used to that deep dark brown. And the bright orange, well, like I said, we'll see. Okay, so I'm not sure about the width on this lime spreader, so let's just start about here and see what we get. Yep, that's what I was afraid of, so let's get back over to the edge. It's not the widest lime spreader in the world. It's not quite that narrow either, so move out a little bit. There we go. That's better. Much, much better. Okay, well, let me spread this lime up, and we'll chat when I get to the end. This could take a while. Not much better than the plow. Alright, just one little spot to touch up and this lime is done. Let me tell you, this is a lot of field. A lot of field. I don't know if you can tell, but, well, you can tell because of where I sit, but I had to fill this lime spreader up a second time, so it was almost 8,000 liters of lime just to cover this one field. It's alright, it's alright. Like I said, that's a lot of field. I'm not entirely sure why my long-lost aunt here wasn't a little more profitable. I can only speculate, you know. I'd say, you know, maybe it was just her age, because she was in her 90s when she passed away, I guess. So she lived a good long life. But I imagine at that age, trying to keep up on a big place like this is just a little bit of a challenge. Now, I imagine she had some people around, but based on the state of the place when I got here, I'm not sure they were the most reliable, so I think I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful in that regard. Now, the big concern that I have is, okay, so I've got lime, yay. And that's really going to help our crop yield. So that's important. But we can't get any fertilizer. So, let's see what we've got for seeds here. We've only got these little tiny baby seeders. At least it's full. But in order to get some fertilizer on this field, I need to plant a cover crop before I can do anything else. And I just went right by it. So we're going to have to lay in some oilseed radish first. Let that sprout. Cultivate it back in. That'll give us a fertilizer state. And then I'm not sure if I can get a second state on this field or not. We're going to find out. We're going to find out for sure. Let's see if this, and I missed a little bit of plowing here. That's okay. It's just a really tiny, small spot, but let's take a look at what this seeder's going to do for us, if anything. It's obviously not a direct drill. Otherwise it would have wiped out that cotton right back there. But otherwise it seems to be working okay. It's just going to take for bloody ever with just one little tiny seeder. I'm probably going to have to get some help on this one, because I do have a second, and I might be able to hire somebody to get this sorted. But I'm definitely going to have to get a couple of headland passes in here. They're not going to have room to work, because it's been pretty tight. And I'll show you what I'm talking about as we go along here. Definitely looks good. Looks like everything's going well. Down on this end, down on this end of the field, well, let's just say that I think an inexperienced helper would end up pretty much driving off of a cliff. Gets a little bit hairy over here. We do have a nice seaside view, though. That's lovely. And I just realized I've got plenty of grass up here. If I need, I know I'm going to need to make hay, and I do have that pasture down there. But if I need more, I've got plenty up here that I could mow also. So that's good. That's good to know. But yeah, you see what I'm talking about right here? Yeah. I just have this nightmarish vision of tractors rolling down that hill. And you know it would happen. You know it would happen. Without a doubt. Oh yeah. Because we know how these boys work. And let's be nice about it and say they're not the most reliable drivers. We'll leave it at that. But I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So where do we stand? We've got my aunt's place. That's good. We're not working for anybody, so no more Mrs. Van Horns. Jolene. I've got a cotton field that needs to be harvested. It's not going to yield very well because it's all full of weeds and junk. It probably hasn't even been fertilized. I don't know. But I'm not just going to throw it away. Just a little spot of lime right here. I mean, it will bring in something. So that'll be a good start. We've got this big 35-acre field here. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. I might break it into 2 fields. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Especially because if we've got to plant cover crop every single time, that's really going to cut into our profit margin. Oops. That reduces our profitability by 20% if we have to wait for first growth, then recultivate and replant. And especially since these seeders aren't direct drills, so that means running the cultivator over the whole field before we can even reseed. So yeah, there are some challenges, and then limited availability of equipment, limited, no availability of chemicals. It's going to be quite the challenge here in Pineapple Bay. Quite the challenge indeed, but I'm sure we are up to the task. Got some ideas. You know Harv, he's always got something brewing up there. It might be ridiculous, but he's always got something brewing up there. You know what I'm talking about. But I have to tell you, as much as I enjoyed Ischia and how pretty it was in Italy, I'm actually liking this quite a bit. I think it's going to serve us quite well, at least as far as environment goes. I mean, it's a beautiful place. Absolutely gorgeous here. Never been to the Caribbean before, or the tropics in general, so yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're thinking positive, and I'm going to have to do something about these bushes because they're going to drive me just a little bit crazy if I don't. I hate those bushes. I hate them with a passion. So I think I'm going to keep throwing in this cover crop, getting the oilseed going. We've got some new beginnings here on Pineapple Bay. And I think that's going to do it for this first episode. A little bit of a map tour, a little bit of getting started, getting things cleaned up and organized. I think we're off to a good start. I really appreciate you coming along for the ride. And until next time, take care.